Have you ever looked at your credit report and thought, are these collections and charge offs going to follow me forever? I recently worked with a client who felt exactly that way. When we started, the client wasn't just frustrated by a credit score. They were frustrated because the negative accounts had been sitting there for years, and every time they looked at the report, it felt like nothing was changing. There were collections, there were charge offs, and like many consumers, the client assumed the only option was to wait and hope things eventually got better. Waiting wasn't a strategy, so instead of starting with promises about what could be removed, we started with the reports. Here's what the journey looked like. In the beginning, we pulled and reviewed all three credit reports side by side. That's important because the same account can appear differently from one credit bureau to another. We looked at the creditor or collector name, account status, balances, dates, payment history, remarks, and other information being reported. The question wasn't simply, is this account negative? The question was, is the information being reported accurate and complete? That distinction matters. Credit repair isn't about pretending legitimate debt never existed. It's about exercising your rights. When information on a credit report appears inaccurate, incomplete, or cannot be properly verified. Once we identified the areas that needed attention, we created a strategy and began working through the process. This is where patience became important. Credit improvement isn't always instant. Information can be investigated, updated, corrected, or sometimes removed depending on the facts and the results of an investigation. There are no guarantees, and every person's situation is different. But this client stayed consistent. Over time, we started seeing changes. Some of the negative information we challenged was no longer reporting. Other information changed. The client also began understanding what was actually happening on the reports instead of being afraid to look at them. That's the transformation I want people to understand. Before, the client saw collections and charge offs and thought, I'm stuck. After going through the process, the client understood, I have a plan. That's a different mindset. Now, here's another important point. Negative information generally doesn't stay on a credit report forever. Many negative items have reporting time limits under federal law. But that doesn't mean you should automatically sit around for years waiting for something to disappear. You should still review what's being reported. Is the balance accurate? Are the dates consistent? Is the account status correct? Is the same debt appearing in a way that could be misleading? Does the account actually belong to you? Those are the kinds of questions consumers should be asking. And if the information is accurate, that doesn't mean you're out of options either. Depending on the account and your circumstances, you may need to look at repayment, settlement, rebuilding strategies, utilization, positive payment history, or simply allowing accurate negative information to age. That's why credit repair isn't one size fits all. Two people can both have collections and charge-offs and need completely different plans. One person's biggest opportunity may be correcting inaccurate reporting. Another person's may be reducing revolving debt. Someone else may need to stop applying for new accounts and establish consistent positive payment history. The report tells us where to start. If you're looking at collections or charge-offs right now and you're worried they'll hurt your credit forever, don't panic, but don't ignore them either. Start by getting all three reports. Compare the information. Understand what's accurate, what's questionable, and what needs further investigation. Then create a strategy based on facts instead of fear. That's what changed things for this client. It wasn't a magic letter. It wasn't a secret loophole. It was reviewing the information, identifying potential problems, following the process, and staying consistent. And remember, results vary. No legitimate credit professional should promise that a specific account will be deleted or guarantee a certain score increase. If you're dealing with collections or charge-offs and you want to know what may actually be holding your credit back, comment credit below. We can start by reviewing your credit reports and identifying areas that may deserve a closer look. If you found this information useful, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Then take a few minutes to go through some of my other videos. Every view, like, comment, and subscription helps the algorithm show this information to more people who may need it. Your credit history may explain where you've been. It doesn't have to decide where you're going next.